When you really think about it, nature has this perfect waste-free system. A leaf falls, it becomes soil, that soil feeds a tree, and the tree grows a new leaf. It's a beautiful closed loop. But us? Well, in our modern lives, we've kind of broken that cycle.
And this is where you can really see the difference. On the left, you've got nature's cycle. It's elegant, it's circular, nothing ever goes to waste. And on the right, well, that's our system. It's just a straight line to the dump. We take food, turn it into trash, bury it, and what do we get? Pollution. We're literally taking something valuable and turning it into a problem.
And it's a really, really big problem. See, when all our food scraps get packed into a landfill without any air, they don't just break down quietly. They release methane. And methane, as a greenhouse gas, is over 25 times more powerful than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in our atmosphere. So yeah, our trash is directly fueling climate change.
But what if there was a way to fix this? A simple, elegant way to actually rebuild that broken cycle right where we all live. Well, that's where community composting comes in. It's the missing link.
So what exactly is it? Well, think of it as the perfect middle ground. It's not some giant industrial facility miles away, and it's not every single person having to manage their own bin in the backyard. It's a local system where a whole neighborhood can bring their food scraps to one shared spot, and together they create amazing compost for everyone to use.
And what's so cool is that this practical idea ties back to a really deep philosophy. One of the core principles of permaculture, which is all about designing sustainable human systems, is simply produce no waste. Community composting is that idea brought to life.
The best solutions are the ones that don't just solve one problem. They solve a bunch of them all at once. Community composting is a perfect example of this. It's not just about trash. It's what you'd call a triple win. It's good for the environment, it's good for building community, and it's good for the local economy.
So first up, the environmental win. This is a real double whammy of goodness. By keeping all that food out of the landfill, we're directly cutting those nasty methane emissions. But we're also creating something incredibly valuable, what gardeners call black gold. This rich compost breathes life back into tired city soils in our parks and community gardens.
Then there's the social win, which you might not even think of at first. In our busy lives, how often do we really connect with our neighbors? Well, that local compost hub becomes a natural gathering spot. It's like the neighborhood water cooler. People start chatting when they drop off their scraps, they share tips, and you start to see real trust and community being built.
And finally, it just makes good old-fashioned economic sense. Think about it. Food waste is heavy and wet, which makes it expensive for cities to haul away. Community composting cuts those costs. Plus, you're creating a totally free, high-quality fertilizer for local gardens. The value stays right there in the neighborhood.
Okay, so you might be thinking, this sounds great, but what does it actually look like? Well, the cool thing is, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. There are a few different models that work for different kinds of communities.
So this table breaks down the 3 most common approaches. You've got the garden hub, perfect for a neighborhood that already has a community garden. Then there's the neighborhood node, which is basically a shared bin system that's awesome for apartment buildings. And in really dense cities, you're seeing more micro-haulers pop up. That's a subscription service where they just pick up a bucket from your doorstep.
All right, now listen up, because this is probably the most important part if you want this to actually work. There is one golden rule you have to follow. It's the thing that makes the difference between a thriving project and, well, a slimy, smelly mess.
So what is it? What's the secret sauce that keeps it from getting gross and attracting all the wrong kinds of attention from pests or your neighbors?
It all comes down to a really simple recipe. You've got to have balance. On one hand, you have your food scraps, your fruit peels, coffee grounds, all that stuff. They're rich in nitrogen, and we call them greens. But if you only have greens, you get sludge. The key is to balance them with browns, things that are dry and rich in carbon, like dry leaves, sawdust, or even shredded cardboard.
And here it is, the magic ratio. This is it. For every 1 bucket of those wet greens you add to the pile, you need to add about 3 buckets of the dry browns. 1 part green to 3 parts brown. That's the secret. Get that right and everything else falls into place.
And this is why, honestly, the most critical part of setting up a program is finding a huge, reliable source of these brown materials. You need a big stockpile. Whether it's wood chips from a local tree service or just collecting tons of leaves in the fall, having enough carbon on hand is absolutely non-negotiable for a healthy, happy compost pile.
So let's just pull all these ideas together with one last thought from permaculture, and that is, integrate rather than segregate. For so long, our whole system has been about segregating our waste, treating it like a problem to be hidden and shipped far, far away.
But community composting does the exact opposite. It integrates that waste right back into the life of our community. It takes something we all saw as a problem, our trash, and it transforms it into an incredible solution, fertility. It's a total mindset shift.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. This idea doesn't have to stop with just food scraps. It makes you look around and wonder, what other things that we call waste in our own communities are really just hidden resources, waiting for us to find a clever way to use them?